Good morning, everybody, and welcome back to a Monday morning. It is Crypto Warehouse. I am Mike, and it is the 20th of November. We are only 10 days away from December and, of course, the end of the year. Thanks for joining me today. I've had a good day off, fully recharged. Saturday, I think we were both very tired on the stream. We didn't have the same energy that we normally have, but we are back today. So what we're going to go through today is we're going to go through the markets, what's happened over the weekend. We're going to have some Bitcoin news, what's happening with Altman now he has left WorldCoin. We're going to take a look at Ethereum. We're going to take a look at what's coming up this week on the calendar, what's the Fed up to, what's going to move the markets this week. Then we're going to take a look at what's just happened in Argentina. Last night, they elected a new president. The existing president conceded defeat, and now we have a new president. I'm going to murder his name. I think it's Milia, but I could be wrong. Then we're going to take a look at what MasterCard are going to do with AI to try and clamp down on crypto baddies and what they're up to. So we're going to go through all of that, and then we're going to have the quiz. But before we do any of that, can I ask you a massive favor? Can you like and subscribe and smash the like button? Do whatever you can do just to help us. We're trying to grow the channel. We've got certain milestones we're trying to get to by the end of the year. We've already hit some of them, and we've got a few more to go before the end of the year. So if you can, as you're watching the stream, press the like button and make sure to follow us. So before we get into the news, let's go and have a look at the markets. Good morning, Atral. Welcome to the stream. Thanks for joining us. So as you can see, Bitcoin is above 37,000. It's at 37,222. On Saturday, I asked Brogan for a prediction of the price of Bitcoin. He said 37,100. So his predictions pretty much come true. We're up 1.5% over the last 24 hours. Ethereum is up 3.7 or 3.8%. That's back above $2,000. We're going to look at both of the charts for Bitcoin and Ethereum today on the stream. It's a Monday, so we're going to go through the charts for Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Cardano. Now, if we go and have a look at the market cap, we're back over 1.4 trillion, 1.42 trillion, up nearly 2%. Volume, don't worry about volume on a Monday morning because that covers a Sunday. Sunday, the markets are closed. You tend to get either nothing happen over the weekend or massive volatility because there's not as much in trading as you get Monday to Friday. So I'm not too concerned about that. The dominance, Bitcoin, 51.2%. Ethereum is back over 17%, which is good to see. So overall, we're in a healthy position, and we're in a healthy position compared to where we were 3 months ago, 6 months ago, and 12 months ago. So no matter what happens over the course of the next month or two, we are a lot better off than we were at the start of the year. That's something to bear in mind. The short-term volatility that we see in the markets should be put into perspective with where the rest of the markets are and where we've come from. We've gained. You know, we were sitting here probably in the summer talking about an $800 or $900 billion market cap. We're now at 1.42 billion. We've come an awfully long way in a very short space of time, and I'm going to cover that today. Now, if we look at what's up over the last 24 hours, Synthetic is doing incredibly well. Fetch AI is doing incredibly well. Now, I know a lot of you are regulars here. You will know I've talked a lot about Fetch and Singularity, and every altcoin within reason has its moment to shine. If you did get into Fetch when we told you to, when it was back at 20, 25 cents, it doesn't matter where Fetch goes to in the short term. It's still a good idea to take some profits along the way. It's up 18% in a day, 156% in a month. So if you did buy at 20 or 30 cents, take some profit. It's not going to do you any harm. Take 10 or 20% off the table. Leave it in cash at the side because, as we've seen with most coins, they do pump and pump and pump, and then there is a retracement. So if you did follow our advice and buy into Fetch, that's up and that's doing really well. Lido is up, the Graph, Arweave, Gala, Gala, we still think is a 3 to 6 cent next move. So a 3 cent, then 6 cent move. So that's doing really well. Hopefully that will continue. It's recovered from its bad news. There's lots and lots of gainers. We're not going to go any further down than this. I don't think there'll be many in the way of losers. If I can just get it to work. Celestia is retracing a touch. Casper is retracing. Render, Mantle, not a lot really. I mean, yesterday morning, I thought the market was going to have a good day yesterday. I thought yesterday was going to be an up market because the price of Bitcoin seems to be being suppressed. So I was expecting some kind of movement to the upside, and we did have a good day. Everything has gained considerably, and like I say, the market cap has gone up nearly 2% in 24 hours. That's a big move considering the size of the market. So all in all, very positive start to the week, and that's what we like. I don't like coming into a Monday morning in a sea of red. It's nice to come into a Monday with a bit of excitement. Now, we're going to cover two bits to do with Bitcoin. One bit we're going to talk about is to do with the new president of Argentina. He's pro-Bitcoin. So we're going to go and look at what his monetary policies are likely to be. That's further on in the show. But first of all, we're going to go through this. And this is something I talk about an awful lot. Not specifically the active supply, but the actual supply of Bitcoin and Ethereum. But this is equally as important. And this is to do with the fact that the supply of Bitcoin and Ethereum that has moved in the last year has fallen to a record low. Only 30% of Bitcoin has moved in the last year, the lowest values on record since data collection began 6 years ago. Now, there's loads of reasons for this. So we'll go through the article first, and then I'll give you some reasons why this is massively bullish. At its peak, 60% of Bitcoin supply was active between March 2017 and 2018. In the past year, only 30% has changed hands. Ether, again, 86%. 6 years ago, it's now only 39%. These are big drops in activity. For Bitcoin, the record low active supply comes ahead of the anticipated halving, as we know, currently projected to occur in April of next year. The percentage of tokens that haven't been touched for 3 and 5 years are at record lows. Now, that'll do. Perfect. So, why is this bullish? It's bullish for two reasons. The first one is that if you're expecting the price of a coin to go up, you're going to hold on to it. If you expect Bitcoin to be at $100,000, $150,000 in a year or two's time, you're going to hold on to it. We've also had a year of upward movement. The price of Bitcoin has gone from $15,000, it's at $37,000 today. So if you take the last year alone, it's gone up 100, 150%, whatever the actual amount is. So we've moved an awfully long way. And when price is going up, you see a kind of a bedding down of the Bitcoin holders. They're not going to sell at these prices. If you knew that the $1,000 in Bitcoin that you had in your pocket today is going to be worth $3,000 or $4,000 in 2 years' time, you're not going to sell today. The reason for that is that we're no longer in the bear market. We are at the beginning of the bull market, and that means that on the whole, prices are going to go up. We can still see retracements. We can still see a $30,000 Bitcoin. We can still see a $1,600 Ethereum. That doesn't mean the price is going to go up consistently from here. But what it means is that if you took a 6-month snapshot between now and the end of 2025, the likelihood is that every 6 months the price is going to be substantially higher than it is today. So why sell your Bitcoin? The second factor is there's more and more institutional grade holders of Bitcoin. Look at MicroStrategy, look at BlackRock, Grayscale, other exchanges. They're holding on to Bitcoin because we've had these cycles and cycles of growth, and you unless you're a short-term trader, you're not going to be selling your Bitcoin anytime soon. So it's massively bullish because this locking down of Bitcoin and Ethereum reduces the supply that's available to buy. So the selling pressure is reduced. When the selling pressure is reduced of any asset, the price will go up because demand can stay the same. But if supply drops, like the halving, if the supply drops and the demand stays the same, Bitcoin is going to run. Ethereum is going to run. Ethereum has gone from a proof of work asset, which is inflationary. It's gone to proof of stake, and it's deflationary in periods of time when the chain is busy. When the chain isn't so busy, it still has a slight amount of inflation. But the shock to the system of what's happened to Ethereum is going to change its dynamics against Bitcoin in the next bull run, because everybody says the same thing. This cycle will be different. This cycle will be different. It will be different for Ethereum because Ethereum was proof of work. In the last bull run, we had millions and millions of new Ethereum every few years. We're not going to have that moving forward. So the dynamic between Ethereum and Bitcoin, in my opinion, is going to change. But we're going to look at Ethereum again in a minute. The first thing we're going to do is have a quick look at the Bitcoin charts. And one thing I haven't done is said hello to anybody in chat. So let me go and see if I can actually see the chat today. Emad, I don't know what Fans HUD is, and I don't know whether I should have given it a shout out. Blockchain Express, Tariq, how are you, sir? Do you know what? There isn't a lot of spam today. That is nice to see. I can actually read comments today. Good morning, Kobe. Nice to see you. Let me know what you're doing this Monday morning. Let me know where you think Bitcoin's going to be at the end of the year. Let me know if you're bullish or bearish in the short term. I'm going to just very quickly drop a box for a few minutes and then we'll carry on. It's always good to have a breather. So the price of Bitcoin since we were at $15,000 has pretty much gone up, not necessarily in a straight line, but it has appreciated in value quite magnificently. And we're still in this channel. We've talked about this channel before, and the one thing I want to point out is that this chart I've been saying has had bearish divergence on it for a few weeks. A lot of people have been saying it's got hidden bullish divergence, which it has. However, the price has moved up very quickly and we are in this channel. But if you look around this channel, you look at the volume area profiles, we've sat pretty much on these beautiful lines of the volume area. Now, I've drawn a line here which is at $38,000. The reason I've drawn that line is we've touched it, and I think we're going to touch it again soon. I think we're going to stay in this channel, but I do think we could possibly have a breakdown. I think if the Bitcoin ETF is confirmed to be January and not potentially November or the rest of November or December, I think we could have a small breakdown. Now, this is where the $30,000 Bitcoin comes in that I've been talking about. So if you look at previous price points along the way, I think this level here is where we could bounce. It's shown as resistance before. The one thing I haven't got on here either is the, let's see if I can bring this one up. Or is it going to give me an error? I thought it would. Okay. Well, actually, we're going to upgrade our trading view, hopefully in the next few days, and we'll be able to show you a little bit more. But as far as I'm concerned, we're gonna worst case scenario come down to $30,000. That's if we get rejected. If we don't, and this bullish momentum continues, I can see us breaking 38, and we all know where I think we're going to go next, which is up towards 40,000. I think this is still on the cards, this area here. And I think if we get rejected, we could hit some of these levels like this. If it's not a bearish landing, if the recession fears ease and Powell's speech or Powell's notes this week sound a bit more bullish, then we could potentially bounce off this end of the channel and we could go up here. These are all possibilities. And again, I'm not a fortune teller. I can't tell the future. I can just see the levels that we could go to. There's a big volume area gap here, and that's why I think we could come down to 30,000 if we get rejected by on the ETFs and the markets take it badly. And that would be the greatest time to buy Bitcoin in this current cycle. We've had all this area down here to buy Bitcoin. You could have bought Bitcoin down here. You've missed it, which isn't the end of the world. If we're talking about $150,000 Bitcoin in 2 years' time, or $125,000 Bitcoin in 2 or 3 years' time, does it really matter if you paid $26,000, $28,000 or $30,000? Not really, not on the grand scheme of things. So if we do come down and we do find support at 30,000, then I would start to really look at accumulating more at that level. If we don't, continue to DCA in, and we do see 42,000 on the horizon. But for me, Bitcoin's looking bullish. All the news coming out about Bitcoin is bullish. And as far as I can see, short-term corrections are not going to dent any enthusiasm I've got. I've now had all the validations I need to be bullish. My bearish September has now gone. The markets don't want to go down anymore. The markets look like they're going to go up, and only kind of ad hoc bad news is going to bring the market down. The trend isn't down as far as I'm concerned. From now on, I can see the trend going up with the odd correction or two. Now, we spoke about this over the weekend. So Sam Altman, I'm not a huge fan of him, but he was fired by the board of OpenAI, and it was roundly criticized by a lot of the crypto Twitterati, the people on Twitter who are into the crypto. CEOs were criticizing it. Even Elon Musk had something to say, and of course Charles had something to say. So Charles immediately jumped on this bandwagon. I'm going to sneeze 1 second. Excuse me. So Charles has invited Sam Altman for a revolutionary collaboration on decentralized AI with Cardano. This is a very smart move. I'm not sure he's going to take this up, but it's a very smart move either way. So Charles, the mastermind behind Cardano, has extended a groundbreaking invitation to Sam Altman, the former CEO of OpenAI, to collaborate on this thing called the Large Language Model, which is going to run on the Cardano's partner chain. So Altman is an this situation, unexpected turn of events. As we know, sacking of Sam was done very quickly, and it all happened in a matter of about 12 hours. So Hoskinson publicly reached out to him saying, if you're seeking a new venture, let's team up for a decentralized LLM. Join us on the Cardano partner chain for an exhilarating journey. This invitation marks a potential meeting of two visionary minds with the tech landscape. The genesis of this collaboration transpired amidst Altman's recent departure from OpenAI, accompanied by controversy over allegedly opaque dealings, prompting the board to appoint Mira Murati as the interim CEO. Now, I think the one thing to bear in mind with anything like this is this is an invitation. It's not written in, it's not written in ink. It's just something that Charles wants Sam to work on. But what it does is it brings Cardano a lot of good publicity. Charles was the first public figure I saw to reach out to him, and I know Sam will have multiple offers on the table. A lot of the people who were also made redundant at the same time, they've already got positions with other companies. Sam will obviously take his time and decide where he wants to go. Now, obviously, as I've said, I'm not a huge fan of some of his involvements in a lot of things that he's done, but that's neither here nor there. He's no longer working there. And I believe he's declined the invitation to go back, but I'm not read that in black and white. That's kind of Twitter hearsay, if you like. So Charles has made this offer, and the one thing about Cardano is it doesn't get enough press, and it's not in the press enough. When it is in the press, it's normally something to do with Charles having a go at Vitalik, or Charles finding alien artifacts at the bottom of the ocean, or Charles eating an extinct dinosaur egg for breakfast. All of these things. He's a bit of a weird and wacky character, but this would be an amazing move. I don't think Sam's going to do it, but it does bring the Cardano blockchain into the spotlight, into the news, and people talk about it. And that's why I'm bullish on this from Charles's point of view, because Charles is big into tech. As we know from, the speed at which Cardano produces its tech is incredibly slow. I mean, I don't even know how many years down the line we are. We've now just got DeFi, we've got an NFT platform. It's just slow, but you never hear it going down. You never hear about there's nothing controversial about the chain. It's just being built out. So this is great news. It gets Cardano in the press. And full disclosure, as I always say on here, I do hold Cardano. I think it's probably about my 4th or 5th biggest bag. And I hold it. I don't hold it for the tech. Anyone that says they're holding it for the tech, I'm not sure I believe. But the price action of Cardano has started to move more. And I do think this 40-cent range, which I talked about a while ago, I said that for me, the most natural price for Cardano at this stage of the bull market, bear market cycle, whatever you want to call it, for me is 40 cents. And we keep knocking on the door. If you go back and you look at this previous, that's almost, that's a half, and we're back again now. We're knocking on the door, and with all the bullish news that comes out, and with all the, the closer we get to the halving, these alts need to position themselves for the bull run. You don't want a coin sitting at 95% off its all-time high too close to the bull run, because it's got an awful lot of ground to catch up. It's like starting a 100-meter race 40 meters back from the rest of the competition. So you need to see the altcoins positioning themselves for the next bull run. And Cardano is a laggard. It is slow. You look at Link has moved, XRP has moved a fair bit, Solana has moved, even Dogecoin has moved a bit. Doge has gone from the 6-cent range to the 8-cent range. And what's Cardano done? Cardano, since the all-time high, has come down as low as 22. It wicked to 21. It's been at 25 cents. We're now at 39 cents. I think we should be looking towards 40 cents. Break that, but then look up here. Look towards 46 cents. Always look for previous points, previous price points on a coin. It's been resistance here. It's been support all the way back here before it obviously broke down. So for me, I'd expect 40 cents. If we break and hold 40 cents, then I think you could look at a 45 to 54p Cardano. So if you're looking to get into Cardano, I don't think you've missed the boat. You could have been buying it at 25 to 30 cents. But again, buying a 40-cent Cardano is an absolute steal. It's like a Black Friday deal for Cardano. And even if you only hold 200 or 300 Cardano, in the next bull run, that could be worth $1,000, $1,200. So don't fade Cardano simply because the price action doesn't move the same as everything else. As I've said before, the way that Cardano is, the way the staking system works, it's got one of the best staking systems in blockchain tech. It's easy, it never gets hacked, it never goes down, the epochs work perfectly. There's no problems at all with Cardano, other than it's very slow in terms of building out. It's not as sexy looking as Solana. So they're the two most negative things for me. And Charles doesn't care about the price. Charles does not give a monkeys if Cardano is 10 or 50 cents. So because of that, you kind of get the hype isn't there, but the technology is, and we're supposed to be in this because of the technology. And I think Cardano could easily hit 45 to 54 cents before the end of the year. And if it does, then I think it's positioned to do a 6 to 10x in the next bull run. So 40 cents for me. If we can break that and hold it, I mean, we've tried before. We've been here now for a couple of weeks. We're going to break it at some point, but I don't know exactly when. But keep an eye on Cardano. I'm a big fan. Let's move on then, and let's have a look at Ethereum. And again, all of the news that we're doing recently, it's all bullish, and it's all to do as well with the supply. And this is important. As we come closer to the halving, exchanges start to lose the supplies of Bitcoin, Ethereum, and other coins, and they get locked up. They get locked up in cold storage wallets, and they get basically locked away for 2 years while the bull run starts and carries on. And you see this massive outflow. What will then happen in about 2 years' time or 18 months' time is you'll start to see the inflows. So when you start to see $1 billion worth of Ethereum leave exchanges in 3 weeks, okay, that's only 0.5%. 0.5% of the supply of Ethereum. Is it about 0.5%? Yeah, it's about 0.5%. But it's only in 3 weeks. So it's an awful lot of crypto to be moved in that short space of time. Now, whether that's being moved to be staked, or whether it's just being moved to a cold storage wallet, it doesn't really matter. It's not on exchanges, which means it's not available, which means the supply is being decreased, which is going to increase the price. It's all economics 101. So who reported into the block says it's looking at Ethereum's exchange net flows, which tracks the ETH moving in and out of centralized crypto exchanges by subtracting the amount. We don't need to know how to calculate, it's very easy. According to the intelligence firm, ETH witnessed $320 million in outflows last week, bringing it to $1 billion outflows in 3 weeks. This is great news. There are growing signs of new entrants buying Bitcoin. The percentage of active addresses that are newly created as tracked through the new adoption rate indicator reached a yearly high of 67%. I've never heard of this. I don't know. Every week there's a new acronym made up. Bitcoin's price has also held up strongly while smaller cap crypto assets rise higher, suggesting inflows into both. It also notes the amount of Bitcoin held in long-term holders hit a new all-time high. We've just been talking about this before. So Ethereum is moving out. Bitcoin is moving out and being locked. Altcoins are going up. Everything currently is bullish. And if we go back to the Ethereum chart, and we've covered this before, and I'm going to keep covering it because it's, if you look at this blue line and you look at where we are, going back over a year, we've had this price point very similar to a lot of coins. They have a price point that they struggle at, and that price point is where we've come back to today, and it's about $2007, $2010. We touched it, we came down again. We broke it for a period of a week here, and we came down. We broke it for a day, we came down. We've broken it for about a week and a bit there, we've come down. And we are now, as far as I'm aware, just sitting, I always do that, we're sitting just above it as we speak. So where do we think Ethereum is going to go? In the short term, everything is going to flow, in my opinion, with Bitcoin. So if Bitcoin can push up towards 38,000 and break it and we start to move towards 40,000, then I think we're going to see the Cardanos, Ethereums, the XRPs following suit a few days, maybe a week after, and we're going to have a follow out. Because what's happening, if you look at Bitcoin, Bitcoin has been trying to break 38,000. It's been knocking on the door. It's knocked on the door a few times. Ethereum, likewise, has been knocking on this door of $20,010, $20,020. Let's call it 20,000 for the sake of it. Now, you look here, this is the next big price point, 2,054, and then further up is pretty much 21,000. And again, 21,000, you could argue, is this area here. This area here. So we've got to break and hold this line, and then we're going to move up to 2,100, and that's a, what's that? That's a 2% move from where we are now, 3% move from where we are now. Very easily achievable. But Ethereum is acting, I mean, I don't know if you've seen the news about Vitalik. There was an ex-employee there who wants to dish the dirt on Ethereum. People are saying that it's not really, dirt. People are saying it's not really worth talking about, but it's still potentially going to hold Ethereum back. There will be people that will be put off buying Ethereum, and that's an opportunity for you to buy, because whatever happens, Ethereum isn't going to go anywhere. Ethereum is still going to be the computer of the blockchain. It's still going to have all the smart contracts, all the liquidity. So again, in the short term, if we can break where we are right now and we can get above $2,100, then you're looking at the next price point for Ethereum, which is potentially about here, which is 2,400. So probably around this level would be the next move up at 2,400, and that's a significant increase from here. That's 20% up from where we are now. So there's our three levels as far as I'm concerned. Where we are now, we need to hold. We need to hold 2,000. If we do, we're going to go to 2,100. If we break that, the next previous history price point is $2,400. And no, I'm not going to look at the, I'm not going to look at the tie-in with the fibs. I'm not going to look at anything like RSI on this today, because I think the previous price points at this stage, they seem to be holding a lot of weight. So that's why I'm now looking to see where we've gone in the past. And I think those three prices for me, 2,000, 2,100, 2,400 for me. If we see a retracement, again, it's probably going to come down to, I'd say, about here, which is $1,900, which would bring us back into this channel, and potentially we do this. But I'm not looking down at the minute, I am looking up, unless something dramatic happens this week and we do see some volatility. Now, let's have a look now at what is going to happen this week. And I don't include these very often in the news, simply because it's normally just a list of dates. And it's been taken out, which isn't, you know what, we can move on. Basically, we're going to see Chairman Powell's Fed notes in, I think it's Wednesday this week. So we are going to see some news this week. We're just not going to see it from Being Crypto. That's the last time I trust Being Crypto to keep an article on its website for more than an hour. Okay, so we're going to move on, and we're going to talk about the new, let's make this big enough for you to see. We're going to talk about the new president of Argentina. And again, there's a lot of kind of publicity around this, because I think he's called, is he called Madman or Mad Dog? Something like that is his nickname. And a lot of people have been talking about some of his policies. I don't really want to get into any of that on here. This is supposed to be about crypto. And again, one of the arguments is, well, it's only Argentina, what does it matter? Well, it matters a lot, because what he wants to do within his country is change the entire economic structure of his country. So from a crypto point of view and from an Argentinian point of view, A, if he does what he says he's going to do, it could be good news for Argentina. And B, it's another level of adoption for crypto. We've already seen the massive success of El Salvador. I know he said Ecuador then, El Salvador. We've seen what's going to happen in Brazil. Even the German economic minister came out the other day and said we need to be allowing Bitcoin to be used as legal tender in Germany, which is a top 6, top 7 economic powerhouse. So it doesn't matter. It's very patronizing to say it's only Argentina. It is. I mean, it doesn't matter what the economy is. It doesn't matter about that. I didn't, El Salvador, people weren't saying, oh, well, it's only El Salvador. Argentina is its own sovereign state, and we should admire, on the economic side, we should admire what Milei is going to try and do, because I believe he wants to get rid of the Argentinian peso, move the country onto the US dollar, and look at introducing crypto and blockchain technology. Now, if you don't know a lot about Argentina, for the last 10 or 15 years, it's had raging inflation. The economy's been decimated, and there's been a lot of false dawns in Argentina. It's had some great people with great socialist ideas that maybe haven't had the impact that they wanted to have. So maybe he's not going to see through everything that he wants to see through. But if he makes some of these changes and it helps, then I really haven't got a problem with it. So he's won over 55% of the votes, giving him a 3 million vote lead, according to Bloomberg. Massa, the country's Minister of Economy, called Milei to congratulate him on the victory after 90% of the votes. He will take office on December the 10th. So Argentina's long-lasting inflation crisis has been a heated topic in the country. The peso has recorded a 140% increase in annual inflation in the last 12 months. It is unbelievable. So he has called his central bank, and he said it's a mechanism by which politicians cheat the good people with inflationary tax. That's another way to look at inflation. It is another tax on the money in your pocket. Again, we don't have time to go into that. He's referred to Bitcoin as a movement towards the return of money to its original creator, the private sector. However, he's not signalled any intention to make Bitcoin legal tender in the country. His view on the money, banking and crypto industries appear polar opposites. Well, I don't need to worry about that. Where's the bit about where he wants to get rid of the dollar? Okay, well, it's not in here. However, he has a plan to scrap the peso, move the country onto the American dollar, and look at introducing blockchain technology. That's his main goal as far as finance is concerned, because he doesn't believe that his central bank can make the necessary decisions which are good for the people. Plus, if you have your own currency which is failing, which the peso has been failing for a long time, you've only really got two options. You reissue it, you start the currency again, or you move on to another currency. A lot of smaller African nations use the American dollar as a second currency within their country. What he's planning to do is completely get rid of the Argentinian peso and move everything onto the US dollar. There are risks with that, of course. If America decides to inflate its own currency, Argentina is at the beck and call of this. So it's not they're not completely out of the woods as far as that's concerned. But it's more good news for crypto. When you have the leaders of countries and ministers in charge of policies in countries talking about crypto and talking about AI, think about where we were 3 or 4 years ago. We would never have imagined we would get to the point where we have a country where Bitcoin is legal tender. Mexico is talking about legal tender. Brazil, Germany, the UK, they are all talking about Bitcoin in particular, but they're all talking about crypto and blockchain technology, and of course now AI. This would never have happened 4 or 5 years ago. We are seeing the global adoption of crypto, and it takes time. You know, it takes time for people to adopt. It takes time for the systems to be built, and it takes time for traditional institutions to get fully into crypto. Now, if we look at another example of that, good morning, Proxy. Good morning, Nako. Good morning, Hassano, GMSAR. Good morning, everybody. Thank you for coming to the stream. I've just seen your comments. I'm very sorry. I've got completely wrapped up in talking through the news that I haven't been paying enough attention to chat. So I do apologize. Now, this is the last article of the day before we get on to the quiz. So let me bring this up and have a quick check of chats. Hang on a second. Actually, I can't drop anything because the quiz will be starting too soon. But anyway, we'll get on with this. So basically, we for crypto to have full adoption, what do we need? We need it to be integrated with the banking system. We also need it to be integrated with the payment systems, Visa and MasterCard. We need it to be integrated with those because if you imagine a world where we have Visa and MasterCard in every shop in the world, the easiest way to spend your crypto is through existing payment channels, such as going into your grocers, giving them your Visa or your MasterCard, but it's a crypto Visa card. So you might have a balance of $500 in Bitcoin, and you pay for your apples and bananas and oranges. You pay for that in Bitcoin. Visa and MasterCard, they deal with all that. The merchant doesn't care. Visa and MasterCard don't care. You will be able to buy those products with whatever you want. Now, another example is you go into a shop to buy your fruit and veg, and that shop decides it wants to accept payment in Bitcoin instead of dollars, for example. You pay in dollars, they receive in Bitcoin. Or you pay in Bitcoin, they receive in dollars. What it does, it's a seismic shift of how money will be moving around the financial system. For the last, 40, 50 years, you've been paying in fiat for your goods, online, in shop, in cash. You've been paying in fiat. We are moving to a stage, potentially only 2, 3, 4 years away, where you can go into a shop and pay with any currency you want. And that shop owner will accept in any currency that they want. Now, yes, if you go on holiday and you buy something in euros and your bank account is in pounds, yes, you've been able to do that. But that hasn't been your choice. That's been the Visa and MasterCard making that transaction for you. This is slightly different. This is allowing you to decide yourself if you're going to pay in Bitcoin or dollars. And it allows the merchant to accept in Bitcoin or dollars. It's totally different. One is just using the existing currency conversions to make the transaction easier. This is a concerted effort to allow you to pay in multiple forms of cryptocurrency for items that you couldn't do this year or last year. And it allows the merchant to do the same. Imagine a merchant who gets charged banking fees for every time there's a deposit. So every day the money goes in, he gets charged. Now imagine that he's got his own MetaMask wallet or his own exchange account, and he says to Visa, right, I want you to send my Bitcoin to exchange A. Every day that money gets deposited, they don't get charged fees. So it's completely different, and it's for the good of the merchants. Obviously good for Visa and MasterCard, and it's good for crypto. But one thing that this needs to have is better prevention techniques in place. And that is where they want to use AI. And I think this is a great idea. So MasterCard told CNBC on Monday that it partnered with FeedZai, a regulatory technology platform to improve monitoring and blocking of fraud in crypto. FeedZai will integrate with MasterCard's CipherTrace Armade platform, which is used to help banks monitor transactions over 6,000 exchanges. The move marks a major push from MasterCard into crypto, specifically efforts to clean the space up of scams. We've read this bit. Here we go. So who is talking here? Nuno Sebastio. This will increase fraud detection by protecting unwary customers, but will also detect potential money laundering activity and mule accounts. Don't know what they are. Oh, they're accounts of users that are right. Okay, fine. I understand what that is now. Can't read that out. So it will give MasterCards access to the artificial intelligence smarts. It says its software can identify and block transactions in a matter of nanoseconds. Now, I'm all for this if it works. Numerous banks that believe they are preventing transactions are in fact only blocking transactions involving the widely recognised and regulated entities. This is what's happening in Australia. So what's happening is you want to send money to your exchange and the banks are saying no, it's too dangerous. Well, they shouldn't be doing that, because as I've said before, if you've got a regulated exchange and that bank is regulated, that bank has no right to block the transaction. It's your money at the end of the day. However, if they had something similar to this, which is AI to determine if it was a real transaction or not, that would help everybody. It would help the banks, it would help the users, it would help the exchanges. Everybody would benefit from this. So from my point of view, this is a massive, massive tick. The move marks a push from MasterCard into the market for legitimizing crypto as a mainstream financial asset that can be subject to the same rules and compliance frameworks as traditional assets. This is all we want. I cannot stress this enough. I have said for 2 years now, we need adoption and regulation. We do not want crypto to be the special child in the class. We don't want, we don't want special treatment. We want a fair playing field. And a fair playing field doesn't exist at the minute because certain people don't want it to happen, because they want control. If you want to talk about control, look at what Joe Biden is trying to introduce to control the internet in America. That's what they want, control. I'm not saying that's right or wrong from their point of view. I'm not American, it's not for me to say. But if you have a level playing field and everybody's treated the same way, and you can make your decisions based on trust, i.e. you trust the exchange, you trust the bank. If everything has trust, then adoption will come. If you don't have regulation, you cannot have adoption. It doesn't work, because too many bad actors can enter the market and cause too much disruption. That's where the regulation comes in. And it might sound like it's destroying the heart of what crypto is all about. Crypto was never going to win without major adoption. It was always going to win by being part of the same system and playing by the rules. And if anything, blockchain technology is more open and transparent than anything that's ever existed in the history of mankind. Imagine that we're playing, what's it called? Monopoly. We're playing Monopoly, except the banker has an unlimited amount of money and you have no idea how much money he's got, and you just keep borrowing from him and you don't know when it's going to stop. That's how it's worked for the last 200 years. What the blockchain does is it shows you how much money the bank has got, where the money is going, how it's being interacted with, how it flows through the system. It's the most transparent way to operate a financial system. And that's why we need it to be brought into the financial system that we currently have, because we need it to be cleaned up. Not from a clandestine black ops kind of way, but we need transparency, and because transparency brings trust. So from my point of view, bullish news. everything I've covered today has been bullish. Even the Sam Altman has been bullish for Cardano. So you get a feel for crypto, you get a feel for what direction we're going in, and there's been a massive sea change in the last 4 or 5 weeks, and everything is now massively bullish, and that for me is more of an indication that the bull run is about to start. And it's very difficult for prices to move down with so much bullish news, because it's like all this bullish news is just putting more air into the ballast tanks, which is helping Bitcoin float. So everything so far, everything I've talked about the last few days has been incredibly bullish. Now, if you are watching on the streaming platform, which I can't mention the name on, I'm going to have to say goodbye to you, because now we're going to do the quiz. So if you're on an exchange, hang fire. I'm going to get to you in a second. But first of all, I'm going to put the pause screen on. I'm going to say goodbye to the other streaming platforms. Remember, we are live tomorrow at 11 o'clock. We are live on Wednesday at 11 o'clock and probably Thursday at 11 o'clock. So make sure to like and subscribe to our channel. Make sure to turn your notification bell on and leave a comment under the video to let us know if you liked it. And with that, I will be back in about 10 seconds for the rest of you.